Så, gå ner I bohatlet. Gedmila Faltra, something like that, is Misha Naomi with Tales of Nuzka. Mr.Chad. So at one stage I'm living on a crystal street called Topaz, and I needed a roommate. And about 2 weeks before, I'm really calm about the whole thing. I don't feel like I need a roommate. I feel like every time I check in, it's like right there. It's just fine. So I'm helping someone make an art project, and they're like, "Do you have a roommate yet? Do you have anything lined up?" And I was like, "Nope, not at all." And I was like, "But I'm not worried. Feels fine." And she's like, "Maybe make a Craigslist posting." And I was like, "Yeah, I've got 2 weeks, so I probably should. I got a week before I got to sign this, pre-lease kind of thing." So I put up a Craigslist, and it's an hour before my landlord is to come and sign this pre-lease. But whenever I check in, I still feel completely fine, completely secure, like everything is totally good. So I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then all of a sudden, a phone call comes. And this baritone man's voice is on the other line, and he's like, "Hey, I've got a room for rent." And I'm like, "Ah!" And the first thing I say is like, "I'm gay!" And he's like, "Oh, fine with that, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "Okay, whatever." And then he mentions his children, and something goes ding, and I'm like, "Okay." So he comes over. He's this giant man. He has to duck to get into my house. He stinks like cologne. It gives me a headache immediately. And I'm like, universe, what the fuck? But my landlord shows up. We sign the pre-lease. And then he leaves. And my eye starts to twitch. I get an eye twitch when I get anxious. And then the other eye starts twitching. I've never had... Usually it's really stressful if I have both. And I'm freaking out. And I'm like, how am I going to masturbate with a man in the house? And I'm freaking. But I'm like, nope, this is going to be fine. And so then a week goes by, and he comes, and he's there, and he offers me a drink, and we have a drink, and we start to bro down. And I remember, I fucking love broing down. I fucking love duding out. I haven't done it for years, though, because dudes always fall in love with you, and it's fucking weird. So I hadn't hung out with dudes, hadn't broed down in a long time, and I was really enjoying that. So when my landlord came to sign the lease, me and him were chatting away so much, getting along so well that we were barely even noticing we got to sign things and this and that. So Mr. Chad moves in with me. He's a mess. He's an alcoholic. Find out later that he was suicidal and he had a plan. But he didn't tell me that right away, and it was a struggle, big time struggle. So I get prepped to go hitchhiking, and then my lovely sister, Fauna, Sisterhood of the Shields, came to live with me and sublet my room for a period of time. She always comes in whenever I needed particular medicines. So I'm off on my journey of getting my dough hide. And Fauna messages, "Who the fuck are you living with? This man is insane. He's cathartic, really releasing in his bedroom. He's fucking wild. Like, what the fuck?" Turns out he just lost a friend, things like this. And I'm like, "Sorry, I don't know, blah, see ya." And so a couple months go by, and then the night that I get coming home, they don't know I'm coming home. And Fauna took him out and gave him some Scooby snacks, which were a special magical mix of things that she made at that time, herbs and things, and gave him one of those. Couple of those, and she took him to the park, and she cracked the nut. She was like, "I don't know what the fuck Naomi sees in you. She thinks you're special. There's something about your children. You fucking asshole. Blah, 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 blah." Just fucking nails and cracks that nut. So I'm sitting on the floor. I'm taking my boots off. All of a sudden, he's behind the window, and he looks in. I scream. He screams. I scream again. He screams again, and we both burst into tears. He comes in. He tells me he loves me, and he loves me like a sister. So for a couple months, Fauna stayed with us, and it was a back and forth of nailing Mr. Chad. Mr. Chad had never cried before living with me. So whenever he would get upset or angry and he'd want to go get fight and get thrown in jail, things like that, I would grab his head and I would just start poking his shoulders and be like, "Mr. Chad needs to cry. Mr. Chad needs to cry." And he would cry. We worked on many, many things. Many, many things. Being proud of his ancestry, clearing out his trauma. At age 8, it was the first time he was ever punched in the face, full force, by a full-grown man. And so he'd had a lot of trauma. We had a really big rigmarole running around with Mr. Chad living with me. Tattooed him a couple times. He experienced a lot of healing while he was living with me. Found his next love, and came to terms with bisexuality, came to terms with gender stuff, started to treat his children really well, and came to honor his ancestors. He's a beautiful man. But when he left, it was too much. The demons inside of him were getting too much, and he had to go. But the time that he spent with me was beautiful, and it was hugely healing for me around men and masculinity. One night we went out and we were drinking moonshine at a friend's house, and everything was really good. And then he drank too much moonshine. I was like, don't drink that much moonshine. If you drink that much moonshine, I'm going to be fucking carrying you home, and you're fucking 300 pounds. I can't do that. So he drank this glass, and I was like, we're leaving because you're not going to be able to walk in fucking 10 minutes. So we're walking, and he's stumbling, and he's walking behind me, and I get triggered. And I have this feeling that he's looking at my butt, and I can't handle it. So I keep kind of going to, and he's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I was like, I can't handle you walking behind me. I think you're looking at my butt. And I'm triggered by it. Poor guy starts crying, trying to run away from me, falls into some bushes, and he's crying, and he's like, I see you like a sister. Why would you think I would do that? I would never. Your butt's always hanging out in the house, and your nipples, I don't see you like that. I see you like a sister. Made me realize that there can be men that really actually just see me as a sister. He had a set of twin sisters. When he was a teenager, his sister came home one day. She'd been raped by one of the high football star guys. So he went out and he broke his leg in 4 spots and ruined his scholarship to be able to do football. And he went to jail for the first time. While he was living with us, it was really nice having a giant man. When anything went on, he would say, you want me to go beat him up? And of course we didn't, but it was really comforting for both of us to have a brother that was actually willing to do something physical for us if something physical had happened to us. So that was a very, very beautiful gift from that funny warrior. And he loved fish and rats. And he was so kind. His rat named Jerry, he was so cute with her. And he would talk to him, and he would talk in his ear, and he'd reassure him. He knew exactly what Jerry was saying and what Jerry was thinking. Jerry passed while he was in the house, but he had a couple of babies, which Chad kept. And I had a ferret for a little bit who came to live with us, and she'd try and eat his rats. He tried to introduce them one night, and she was like all curious, and then all of a sudden she started slamming her head into the corner of where the glass and the wood met, and then he realized that she would eat them, that she really would. And then he didn't like Delphine. He liked her before that, but when he realized that she would eat the rats, he was quite upset with that little weasel. That little weasel also made Fauna had so much fun fucking with Mana, hiding in her things and popping out and scaring Fauna, and she'd be like, Weasel, get out of here! It was so fun. Cute little critters. Bless you, Mr. Chad, and your babies. May you be well wherever you are. May you be balanced. May you be at ease and peace within your heart. May you honor all your ancestors, and may they be at peace and not at war within the ethers anymore. I love you.